This is Bang Radio. I'm DJ Joker. This is Broken Silence, the show for young people by young people. Today, our guest is Stella, local MP for Walthamstow. Welcome to Bang. Nice to have you on the show. Would it be alright if I ask you a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Good. Do you feel youth crime is at an all-time high right now?
I think fear of youth crime is at an all-time high. Every young person I talk to in Walthamstow is really, really frightened, and it's like basic fears. It's fears about getting on a bus to go to college because they're worried about people on the bus attacking them. It's fears about walking the streets, fears about crossing postcodes. We have to stop that because that fear is holding back young people from London from achieving their potential.
From that point, there's another question. Gangs have been a very big problem in London. I feel sometimes the police already have a preconceived notion and approach the youth in a violent and demeaning manner. Are the police being trained to deal with the young people in a good manner?
Listen, that's a really important question, and one of the things that's coming out of the conversations that we're organising across London, 55 young people leading discussions, is they're all saying actually we want a different relationship with the police, because the first time a lot of young people in London have contact with the police is when there's conflict. Actually, the police are there to keep our young people safe, but if they don't have that relationship, they don't have that trust. I'm really worried that only 17% of young people in London feel safe in our city. To change that, we need young people to tell us how they want to be safe. And that's what this project is about, is giving young people a voice rather than me talking for you. Do you feel the social services could do more for the youth in general? I think we need all partners to be working with our young people, and we need our young people to step up too. I always believe you've got to give responsibility to get responsibility. I know most young people in London are really talented, really creative, and they just want a chance. But you know what? They have to show that they've got responsibility. They have to show they've got leadership alongside people like social services, like the police, like our schools, like our mayors, like MPs like myself. I can't change anything in my community on my own for our young people. But if my young people are willing to work with me, we can conquer the world. I believe that. That's a good answer, really good answer. What exactly are the London Council doing to prevent the youth from wandering the streets and staying in school? Well, I think it's a really good question again about schools. You know, we've seen massive cuts in policing over the last year or so, and we've seen cuts in the education welfare officers, those people who help make sure that kids are in school. Getting an education is the best protection you can have in life to not achieving your potential. So when young people aren't in school, that really worries me. We've got 30,000 people in London who are what they call a persistent truant, which means they've missed more than 15% of their school year. They're getting behind, they're not getting their GCSEs, they're not getting their grades, they're not getting their BTECs, they're not getting on in life. We have to change that. But that means we all need to work together, because when we're seeing those cuts in our policing, when we're seeing young people who don't have trust in the police or trust in social services, it's really hard to change that. That's why young people themselves need to be part of the solution. They're not the only ones who need to take responsibility, but they need to be part of it too.
Looking at recent violent crimes, hate crimes and business crimes have decreased this year, but theft has. How do you feel about that? Do you feel the government cutting back is to blame?
Look, I'm really, really worried. We know that 7,500 young people in London last year alone were victims of knife crime committed by other young people. That's 7,500 young people who are now really frightened of their peers. And we know there's a big link between being a victim of knife crime and then becoming an offender, because you end up carrying a knife because you're frightened. We have to break that cycle. That's why we need organisations and people to support young people. That's why I think it's fantastic. You've got some really committed counsellors in Brent, like Zaffa, who's working really, really hard to try and turn things around. And we need young people to be part of that too. I mean, that's why I'm so worried about all the cuts that we're seeing, because actually it means that all the things that invest in keeping our young people safe so they go on and achieve their potential, so they get a job, they get a career, they get to fulfil their potential, aren't happening. And we're end up going to spend a lot of money fixing the problems that come when that doesn't happen. That's
some good answers coming out today. There have been a number of cases where the police have shot a suspect in cold blood. The suspect did not have a weapon. Do you feel this gives youth reason to go against the police, since they may see the police as enemy? Are the police working on their detaining methods as well?
I think everyone recognises that we've got to change the relationship between our young people and the police. But you know what? A relationship is about two people. That's why we need our young people to think about the relationship they want with the police too. So I would be really, really tough with the police. They've got to work with young people. But you know what? I'm going to be really tough with young people too, that they've got to take responsibility. They've got to say to their peers, this is not the kind of behaviour we want to see in our streets in London. Because I'm really worried about those young people who are victims of crime. I'm really worried about those young people who are scared. Changing that, it's got to be a partnership. It can't be about the police, it's got to be about both together.
I feel the government does not provide enough wide range activities for the youth to attend. Parents pay enough tax to fund this, so why has that area still left void?
Well, look, this is one of the reasons why if we could tackle youth crime, a lot of money is being spent dealing with the problems youth crime causes rather than necessarily preventing it. A lot of money has to go on enforcement, and one of the things I'm really worried about with this government is I don't think they get that actually if you prevent young people making bad choices early on in life, then actually those things won't happen in the first place, that we can put the money into the mentoring, into our schools, into the youth opportunities that people want to see, into the training courses, into the apprenticeships that will make that difference.
Yeah.
And then we won't have to spend all the money on dealing with people who don't have a stake in society and think it's okay to commit crime. It is never okay to commit crime, but actually we need to tackle those causes first and foremost, and the money needs to go there. If we worked in that way, if we saw the investment that our young people are and acted accordingly, things would be very different.
Yeah,
that's what I'm fighting for.
Yeah, that is true. Like from a young person myself, it's quite hard to like go out on the streets without feeling intimidated by one way or another. But we need to sort that as well.
So I need your help because I need you to tell me how we make that different. I need you to talk to your peers as well, because I can't come in and say to you, "Oh, it's perfectly safe out there. Don't worry about it." I need you to be out in the streets saying, "Actually, we want our streets to be safe, so we will act accordingly."
Yeah. On the London Council website, it says London Council's children and young people's team undertake a range of activity to support London and local authority in their work to reduce bullying and violent behaviour of some pupils who make others feel unsafe to go to school.
And I think it's a really, really important point. We know a lot of young people in our schools, particularly a lot of young girls, are facing harassment and facing real fear in school, which again means they're not going to want to go, they're not going to learn, they're not going to achieve their potential. We all miss out when people don't achieve their potential because we miss out on what they could do for our city and for our country. Yeah.
This is Bang Radio. I'm DJ Joker. This is Broken Silence, the show for young people by young people. Today our guest has been Stella. Thank you for coming.
That's all right. I hope you'll come on the 21st of April, where we're having a big rally in Paddington to bring young people together with Ken Livingstone and with the mayoral candidates to say, actually, we want you to prioritise this. Because you know what? I can't speak for you. Only young people in Brent can speak for themselves. So they need to be there to be part of that conversation.